St. Kitts and Nevis's position in tourism bolstered following victory at the WTTC Global Summit and Nevis to observe Earth Day 2019. Regionally, man pleads guilty in threatening to cut off Bermuda Premier's head. Internationally, Columbine-obsessed woman accused of Denver school threats found dead. And in sports, former West Indies batsman to work with West Indies men ahead of upcoming ODI series. We'll have the details to these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back on the one to the national news in detail. Approximately 2 weeks ago, St. Kitts won the World Destination Stewardship Award during the WTTC Global Summit, which was held in Seville, Spain, beating Brazil and the Philippines. By winning this award, St. Kitts is recognized as the best destination in the world in sustainable tourism. But what does this mean? What does this recent accomplishment mean? The VOA Newsline spoke with Assistant Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism in St. Kitts, Mrs. Diane Taylor-Williams, who explained the aforementioned.
On one hand, it recognizes the work that we've been putting in to ensure that our tourism is sustainable and it takes into consideration future generations. And on the other hand, it means that the expectations of visitors to our destination will now be increased in terms of what they're looking for, destination management, our socio-cultural issues, the fact that whether or not they're being addressed, our environmental issues, and the livelihoods of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
It is understood that this recent accomplishment also puts the Federation in a better position in terms of tourism.
Based on a survey that was done in the United States recently, it is found that 60% of travelers from the United States look for destinations that are involved in sustainability practices in terms of the way they develop their product, take care of the people, and also in terms of the socio-cultural, the preservation of the culture, and those types of issues.
Assistant Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism in St. Kitts, Mrs. Diane Taylor-Williams. Nevis will join the rest of the world in the observance of Earth Day on April 22, 2019. The Nevis Historical and Conservation Society, NHCS, will mark the observance by hosting a public lecture which will be delivered by an international environmental consultant, Kelvin Lindsay from Antigua. The lecture will be held at the St. Paul's Anglican Church Hall at 7 p.m. Policy and decision makers and practitioners in various fields such as agriculture, fisheries, tourism, environmental health, protection, and physical planning are encouraged to attend the lecture. Earth Day has been celebrated annually since 1970 to raise awareness of the threats to the natural environment caused by human activity, particularly the impact of industrial development. It is now a worldwide event that attracts millions of people. The theme for Earth Day 2019 is Protect Our Species, in recognition of the threat of extinction facing millions of species around the world. The balance of nature in which each life form has a vital role to play has been disastrously upset by humans. A release from the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society states that in Nevis, our biodiversity is being gravely eroded by invasive species, climate change, pollution and pesticides, deforestation, destruction of wetlands, among other types of human-generated damage. Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris extended his heartfelt condolences and those of the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis to the family and loved ones of the late Herman W. Liebert, Esquire, Justice of Peace, who was a former Speaker 1980 to 1985. Following the passing of Mr. Liebert, Dr. Harris stated that Mr. Liebert was a visionary who had a remarkable life history, having presided as Speaker during an extraordinary era in our country's development. Meantime, last week, Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, issued a statement on the passing of Mr. Liebert. Part of the statement reads, and I quote, "Few have served with such distinction and such dedication and distinction as he did. He holds much more than a small place in our nation's history." Additionally, former Deputy Premier of Nevis, Mr. Hensley Daniel, paid tribute to Mr. Liebert and stated, and I quote, "Herman Bobby Liebert was a true Nevisian patriot. My earliest memories of him was as a cricketer, and the NRP supporters can cherish his memory by working together and remaining loyal and committed to the ideals and policy of the party," end quote. Herman Liebert has actually first presided as Speaker at the opening of the new House of Assembly on March 20th, 1980, following the general election on February 18th, 1980, and was succeeded as Speaker of the National Assembly by Ivan Buchanan in 1985. The 1983 Constitution established the National Assembly to replace the House of Assembly. The former Speaker, who was 78 years old, died on Friday, April 12, 2019. In the midst of speculations regarding the date of general elections here in St. Kitts and Nevis, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party SKNLP has indicated that they are prepared whenever an election is called. Although leader of the Team Unity Coalition Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris stated last Tuesday that he has not started to think about elections, Team Unity is confident that they will win the next general elections, which are constitutionally due by 2020. In an interview with the VOA Newsline, CEO of SKNLP, the Honorable Nigel Carty, stated that the party is in a very good position.
The Labour Party, I think, finds itself in a very good position. We are, in fact, in a very good mode in terms of preparation. So while we have been here preparing for an election, we are ready. Even now, we are ready. We have our materials ready to go. We have our manifesto ready to go. And our candidates have all been named now, the last of which was Leon Natter Nelson, and we feel that we're in a very good position to take the government when the elections are called.
According to Mr. Carty, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are prepared to remove Team Unity from office.
I think that the public has become very much alert and awake and alive to the fact that this is the most corrupt administration we have seen. So from the conversations I hear, from the polls we have done, the opinion research that we have done, we've seen time and time again a manifestation that people are tired, ready to turn the page, get Dr. Timothy Harris and his cohorts out of government.
The Honorable Nigel Carty. The St. James's Primary and Charlestown Primary Schools tied for first place in the Junior Chef Competition, which was held here on Nevis for the first time on Monday, April 15th at the NEPAC Courtyard. VOJN Primary placed second, and the Ivor Waters Primary and the Nevis Academy tied for third place. The competition emanated from the My Healthy Plate initiative in the schools, which is a program by the Health Promotion Unit in the Ministry of Health here on Nevis. Coordinator of the Health Promotion Unit is Mrs. Nadine Carty-Keynes.
We had 9 primary schools participating, which is a great accomplishment, and we want to say thank you to those 9 schools for competing. And I think it was an awesome success. The kids came out, they performed, they expressed themselves through their culinary skills at that age. Their chaperones assisted them very well. And the team at Health Promotion Unit did an awesome job in executing this activity.
When asked if the event will be an annual one, this was Mrs. Carty-Keynes' response.
Given the success of this event, and I would hope that we'll get additional sponsors to make this even better next year, but the plan from the Health Promotion Unit Ministry of Health perspective is to ensure that we continue this event and encourage the children to see different ways they can create healthy meals so that we do not have the burden of NCDs, which is non-communicable diseases, that we are seeing currently.
Coordinator of the Health Promotion Unit, Mrs. Nadine Carty-Keynes. Each school received a certificate of participation. First, second, and third place winners received trophies, and each child received a certificate of participation, chopping board, as well as a cooking spoon. In police news, police in St. Kitts are investigating a traffic accident which resulted in a pedestrian being injured. An investigation is currently being conducted into a traffic accident that occurred on 4th Street, Bastille on Friday, April 12, in which a pedestrian was injured. The accident occurred at approximately 5:45 p.m. and involved motorcar PA 7183, which is owned and was being driven by Jevon Richin of Taylors and a pedestrian by the name of Stanley Thompson of Ponds Pasture. Reports said that Richin was traveling north along 4th Street, and when he got in the vicinity of Big Sale, Thompson crossed the road from west to east from behind a parked vehicle. Thompson and the motorcar collided. Thompson was taken to the JNF General Hospital by ambulance for medical attention. He sustained injuries to his left leg and waist. He remains warded at the hospital in a stable condition. Richin was taken into police custody for questioning and subsequently released. And lastly, in our national news segment, primary and secondary school students and their teachers here in St. Kitts and Nevis are among 2,800 youths in the OECS who are expected to benefit from a linguistic exchanges and innovative learning through Mobility Elan Work project. The project is a 2-year activity valued at €3 million under the Interreg Caribes program, which seeks to encourage plurilingualism within the Caribbean basin. Under the project, the member countries of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States OECS have been awarded €300,000 from the European Development Fund EDF to implement tailored activities to enhance student mobility and school exchanges through improved linkages among education institutions in the region. Specifically, the ELAN project will seek to increase support for school mobility in primary, secondary and tertiary institutions, as well as improve proficiency levels in those languages used in the nearby geographical area, with a real priority given to school partnerships, and support the development of collaborative platforms to encourage virtual exchanges among educational communities. The program will provide a real opportunity for young people from the OECS to benefit from easy access to higher education and vocational training in a variety of fields. The ELAN project is also expected to serve as a springboard for Martinique's active participation as an OECS member territory through linguistic exchanges, innovation and mobility, which will build capacity, prepare young persons for active participation in and beyond the OECS region, and instill in citizens an appreciation for their own language. And that's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com, or you can check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Ladies and gentlemen, this here's another one for the steppers.
Swipe to win big in 2019. That's right, the Bank of Nevis Limited is once again giving you, our valued customers, a chance to win big. Just swipe or use your Bond Visa credit card for US $100 for a chance to win a cruise for two, an iPhone XS, or a grocery dash at Best Buy Supermarket.
Say what?
Sign up for a Bond Visa credit card and automatically be entered for a chance to win. This offer ends August 31st, 2019. So tell your friends and family to swipe to win big with the Bank of Nevis. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram.
Welcome back on the one to the regional news. Activity in the upcoming Atlantic hurricane season is forecast to be a bit less active than usual, with slightly below average probability for major hurricanes making landfall in the Caribbean. That's according to the outlook issued by the respected team at the Colorado State University CSU, led by Dr. Phil Klotzbach, for the June 1st to November 30th period. A normal season sees about 12 named storms, 6 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. The forecast for 2019 is close to that. It is predicted that there will be 13 named tropical systems, with about 5 of those becoming hurricanes. Out of Bermuda, a 29-year-old man who was charged a year ago with making death threats to Premier David Burt pleaded guilty on Monday, April 15th. Jared Gordon admitted in court to sending the country's leader two threatening emails, one in which he wrote about putting a hole in Burt's head and another in which he said he would cut off his head. He had been offered bail since being charged in May 2018 for the October 12, 2017 and May 20, 2018 offenses, but was remanded after he was unable to find a guarantee. After Gordon's guilty plea, acting Judge Juan Wolf extended his bail pending the completion of a psychological assessment and the social inquiry report for sentencing, but she left the need for a guarantee. Although he admitted to the death threats, Gordon denied one count of blackmail. The prosecution indicated it would not proceed with that charge. In Cuba, Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez, president of the Councils of State and Ministers, said on Twitter that Cuba is working tirelessly for the return of 2 doctors kidnapped in Kenya. The Cuban Ministry of Public Health reported the kidnapping of 2 Cuban health workers who provide their services in Mandera County, Kenya. According to the official note, the doctors are named Acel Herrera Correa, specialist in general integral medicine of the province of Las Tunas, and Landy Rodriguez Hernandez, specialist in surgery of the province of Villa Clara. This Saturday, Kenya's Minister of Foreign Affairs Monica Juma, after having a telephone conversation with her Cuban counterpart, demonstrated her solidarity with the families of the kidnapped Cuban doctors. Out of St. Lucia, in a budget address that centered on people-centric growth and bringing relief to St. Lucians, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet announced personal income tax reform that would see thousands of low-income earners pay less and, in some cases, no personal income taxes. This is a bold initiative and in keeping with the government's promise of less onerous taxes on the people of St. Lucia. The Minister of Finance presented the Appropriation Bill 2019-2020, which focused on opportunities that will propel every St. Lucian to an acceptable standard of living and offer the chance to build wealth for themselves and their families. Part of this plan, explained by the Prime Minister, was the reform of the personal income tax system to make it simpler, more progressive and less burdensome. And lastly, in our regional news segment in Guyana, test results have confirmed that 9 mining workers, mostly Chinese, who mysteriously fell ill last month, had tested positive for histoplasmosis, an infection caused by breathing in spores of a fungus often found in bird and bat droppings. At a press conference on Monday, health officials said investigations were finally complete and the testing on the sick workers at the Guyana Manganese Incorporated GMI ruled out the possibility of swine flu or H1N1 as a primary cause. 2 Chinese workers had succumbed to their illness. And that's it for our regional news segment. Stay with us for news around the world. Welcome back on the one to the international news. An 18-year-old woman suspected of making threats to Denver area schools has been found dead. Saul Pei was reportedly obsessed with the 1999 Columbine High School massacre, in which 2 teenagers murdered 12 students and a teacher. The alleged threat led to school closures, affecting more than 400,000 students, and a manhunt for the woman. She allegedly traveled to the state and bought a shotgun ahead of the 20th anniversary of the Columbine shooting. Jefferson County Sheriff Jeff Schrader said earlier today that she died from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The FBI earlier tweeted there was no longer a threat to the community and the suspect is deceased. The first shipment of humanitarian assistance from the International Red Cross is being distributed in Venezuela after it arrived on Tuesday. The shipment comes a few weeks after President Nicolas Maduro reached a deal with the group to deliver aid. The socialist president had previously repeatedly denied the existence of a humanitarian crisis in Venezuela. He had also blocked the delivery of aid from the US and other countries, saying it was part of an imperialist plot. Following the agreement reached by President Maduro, the International Committee of the Red Cross announced it would triple its budget for operations in Venezuela from about $9 million to about $24.6 million. An age check scheme designed to stop under-18s viewing pornographic websites will come into force on July 15th. From that date, affected sites will have to verify the age of UK visitors. If they fail to comply, they will face being blocked by internet service providers. However, critics say teens may find it relatively easy to bypass the restriction or could simply turn to porn hosting platforms not covered by the law. Twitter, Reddit and image-sharing community Imgur, for example, will not be required to administer the scheme because they fall under an exception where more than a third of a site or app's content must be pornographic to qualify. And lastly, in our international news segment, the French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe has announced that there is an international competition to rebuild the spire to replace the one destroyed by the fire at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris on Monday. He said it could be a replica of the original or something more contemporary.
The international competition will enable us to address the following questions: whether we should rebuild the spire, if we should reconstruct the spire identically in the same way that it was built in the 19th century, or if we should give the cathedral a new spire using modern techniques and more reflective of our times.
And that brings us to the end of our news segment. The latest in sports is next.
Most of us spend the better part of each weekday at the workplace. So why not make your office environment the kind of setting that helps you function at your personal best by outfitting it with top quality furniture, high-end photocopiers, printers, versatile office supplies, and the latest technology. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at the TDC Business Center are happy to provide you with personalized service to help you create an office space that's the total package. TDC Business Center, providing solutions that work.
Welcome back on Now the Sports in Cricket. Former West Indies batting star Ramnaresh Sarwan said he has welcomed the invitation to work with the West Indies team ahead of next month's Tri-Nations One Day International Series in Ireland and the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019 England and Wales. Sarwan, 38, who has played 87 tests, 181 ODIs and 18 2020 internationals between 2000 and 2013, will spend the remainder of the week working with the players, especially the batsmen, helping them to fortify their game. Key batsmen Darren Bravo and Shea Hope led the group that spent long periods working with Sarwan in the nets on Tuesday, the second day of the team's training camp currently underway at the Cavell campus of the University of the West Indies. Interim coach Floyd Raffer described having Sarwan available to work with the batsmen as beautiful, as all roads lead to the World Cup. Still in cricket, specifically in the IPL, Sunrisers Hyderabad broke Chennai Super Kings' winning streak and secured a vital victory after 3 losses on the trot with a 6-wicket win at the Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium in India. The scores were as follows: Sunrisers Hyderabad 137 for 4, Bairstow 61 not out, Warner 50, Thayer 2 for 20, beat Chennai Super Kings 132 for 5, Du Plessis 45, Rashid 2 for 17 by 6 wickets. In football, Paris Saint-Germain missed the chance to win the Ligue 1 title at the third attempt as they lost 3-2 to Nantes. Thomas Tuchel's side drew 2-2 with Strasbourg and lost 5-1 to Lille in their last 2 games when they could have clinched the title. Dani Alves' stunning long-range strike gave PSG the lead in the 19th minute. However, Diego Carlos struck twice either side of Majid Waris's goal, but with Metehan Goklu netting a late consolation goal for PSG. PSG is still 17 points clear of second-place Lille with 6 games remaining and can win their 6th title in 7 seasons if they beat Monaco on Sunday. And lastly, in our sports segment in Carifta 2019, the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is very optimistic about their chances at this year's Carifta Games, which will take place this Easter weekend, April 20th to the 22nd, at the Truman Bodden Sports Complex in the Cayman Islands. In 2018, Team Trinidad and Tobago won 17 medals, including 4 gold, 6 silver and 7 bronze. And that's it for sports. The weather is next. Welcome back tonight. So weather will continue to be fair to partly cloudy with a slight chance of showers. The weather tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a slight chance of showers. The winds are east at 19 to 30 kilometers per hour. The seas are 1.2 to 1.8 meters, and the sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:54 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Wednesday, 17th April 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis' position in tourism bolstered following victory at WTTC Global Summit and Nevis to observe Earth Day 2019. Regionally, man pleads guilty in threatening to cut off Bermuda Premier's head. Internationally, Columbine-obsessed woman accused of Denver school threats found dead. And in sports, former West Indies batsman to work with West Indies men ahead of upcoming ODI series. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Jarvis Bond wishing you a pleasant